Can you hear me? I can't really hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah? All right. Hello, everybody. I am Will Entriken, lead author of ERC 721. Oh, well, snap. If you're making money, clap. If you're making money with me, clap. Great. I prepared a presentation today. The topic is releasing your art as an NFT using the different platforms. Done a lot of work, spent a lot of money making this happen. I hope you enjoy it. Do we have artists on the audience? Do we have any people that are releasing? People that want to release? People just want to see me? All right. So we have a great speech today. I'll keep it on time. And we have a very special guest at the end. So the prompt, you've all been thinking about it. The hardest part of releasing your art NFT is finishing your damn art. All right? No writer's blocks. Wow, I really hit a nerve with some people. So I will show you today that it is simple to create NFTs using all of the platforms. I've researched every platform. I've put out a tweet and I said to everybody, tell me your NFT platform of choice. I got on every one of them. I worked with 6 different artists to make a collab, which is also not easy, creatively, financially, agreements, everything, done. Worked with 9 different artists, released on 6 different pieces of art, and I'm going to show you everything about it. At the end of today, you will be prepared to launch using whichever platform you like. As the lead author of ERC 721, I'm impartial. None of these people pay me. I will say good things. I will say bad things. Some of them might be sponsors of this event. I will say bad things. This is with love. I'm giving you warnings. So I will say things that didn't work. This is with love. I respect people that launched their product. So if things didn't work, talk to me. I will share all the details, and we'll fix it together, right? So we are in year 4 of the NFT experiment, ERC 721. And so this is the current state of affairs. If you're thinking of launching an NFT, I hope today you'll be inspired and you'll be able to realize that this is so easy. But yet again, the hardest part is actually finishing your artwork. I did all this in 2 days. The hard part, the presentation, that took forever. But actually releasing the NFTs, I did 6 collaborations with 9 artists in 2 days. So you can get these things done. Here are all the platforms that I saw. If you know another platform, tell me afterwards. But these are the ones I got on Twitter from my question. These are all the ones that I went. I went to sign up on every one of these platforms, and I'll share all my experiences today. But I'll save some time, because half of them are not accepting applications. There's a before, there's an after. So I'm coming from NFT NYC, New York, what's up? And I'm coming to Art Week Miami, right? Hola Miami. So in between these 2 art events, if I can't sign up, maybe you can't sign up. So I cannot recommend you to join any of these platforms that I couldn't sign up on between the 2 largest art events, before the largest art event in the US right now, right? So they're going to have more of a backlog tomorrow, is what I'm trying to say. So of the remaining, there are 6. I'll go through every one of them. Here are the 6 pieces. On your table today, you have a colorful page that shows all the different platforms. That's the cheat sheet. So all the slides I have here, you can download. There's a lot. I'll move quickly. On the other side of the sheet are the 6 NFTs I'm dropping. Right now, if you're on my Twitter, you saw it. If you're here, you just flip the page over. It's now live. These are 6 different pieces of art using 6 different mediums with 9 artists. So I will show you case study, 6 case studies, my experience with the artist, what they thought getting into this, which platform we choose, and what happened. It's a case study, so we're going to learn things together. All different types of art, so I'll go through it. The first one is a sketch. This is my book. I take all my notes. In here is a sketch that I did with NFT Hype Man. He and I sketched at NFT NYC, and we said, we're going to make this my first NFT collab, so we will hashtag NFT collab. So I literally have dice, because there's 6 choices, and we chose Raribles. Raribles has multiple choices. I always choose the default, because I want to show you what the experience is like if you're not experienced. Yeah, there might be other buttons. I just tried to make it work, and I want to show you what I saw, what worked and what didn't. So this is Raribles singles collection. This is Ethereum mainnet, and this is also using IPFS to store the images. This is an image I took with my wife's iPhone. It is a 60 megabyte image. iPhone, if you do it in RAW, the photos are big. And these are details you want to know if you're releasing an NFT, okay? I talked to the artist, and I said, what are your expectations for licensing, usage of this artwork? because the platform might not give you choices. I want to know before you get in. So he's got a real like Pirate Bay copy me style of. Start a timer. Now. Bitch. Start a stopwatch now. All right, watch my time. So he's really like, use whatever you want, I don't care. So I want to know about that before we go release something on a platform that restricts it a different way. He didn't care about the price, and so this is dropping right now for 0 ETH. So here's my experience with Rarible. You show up, there's a singles collection, there's a multiple, if you want to do a series or a one-of-one drop. So we did a one-of-one. You can upload it. They support video and photos. That's the most popular. They have different types of auctions, so fixed price, bids. This one, let's see. Pick my artwork. All of these slides are on the QR code. So if you want to see all this stuff, it's on that sheet. So this one was very interesting. It had, when you place this one, you place a bid, and then the bids have to be 5% more. Not all of them have that, and if they don't, that's a huge problem. You could schedule this auction. This was really important. This one is on sale for a week, starting right now. So that was important to me that I could launch this with you, and you would have 1 week to buy it, or bid on it, starts at 0. So that was something I really cared about. We typed in the text. So I always want to have a good metadata. You know, good artwork is not just a picture. You've got to have a whole story. I had some properties, some metadata. So I filled in the size of the sheet, the medium, pen and paper. Got a nice Muji pen, talked about that. You could accept different coins. This was good to know. So I accept Ether, the first one. Mints it. And so some of the platforms do something where you don't actually mint it on the blockchain, but they call it minting. The word minting is being abused a little bit in the NFT world. So I minted that, and you get confetti, of course. There's a huge problem though. When I got the link, when I was done, I shared it with my friend, and they opened it, and the page on their phone downloaded an 80 megabyte image. Boo. So it didn't load at all. So there's my photo, and after like a minute, it finally loaded. So I had to figure out what's going on. It turns out that when you release on Rarible, it puts the whole image up there, and then it launches it. And then later, like a half hour later, it thumbnails it. So this is something you want to know before you embarrass yourself. This is why you paid good money for this, to learn this stuff, right? So here are my notes. The auction was great. Has snipe protection. It prevents a DOS attack where you can actually have 2 people bidding back and forth at the same price. That's actually a huge problem. It prevents against that. You can schedule it. Oh my God, like you actually want to prepare for your speech, not me being in the back of the room dropping my NFTs because it has to be launched at the exact time that I want to launch it, right? I really respect that. They abuse the word mint. I'm going to ding them for that. There's no gas payment. Other ones cost a lot of money to drop. And the page was slow to load. Case study 2. This is a photo manipulation art. So this is my self-portrait in the style of a Hugh Laurie portrait photo that I love. So that's my self-portrait. And then I worked with Sean from Conwell's Club, and he manipulated it into this. So this is a collab. Every one of these, I'm talking to the artist. I want to know their expectations. This was on Mintbase, which also uses Arweave. His expectation was that if you own the artwork, you can use it as a profile photo, and you can display it in a gallery. And if you don't, you should delete it. That's his expectation. If you want to print it, you can print what you have, but if you want high res, you should contact him. So I'm not doing this to sell my artwork. I'm doing this for you to make your own decisions. You should decide. Do you want to upload high res? Do you want people to print? Do you want people to call you when they want to print? Modification is something coming too. This is an important topic. So when somebody buys an NFT, do you want mutant versions of your NFTs out there? You should specify that. You should tell people, this is cool, this is not cool. If there's a DAO, if somebody collects money to buy your NFT, how do you want them to use it? You should think of this now, not later, because guess what? It's immutable. So be ahead of the curve on these thoughts. Here's my experience with Mintbase. So I got in there. I had to use Near. This is one side, and this is 5 hours of effort. So Near, I used the first option, and so they could have used Ethereum, but I used Near, and it took me 5 hours to get a hold of Near tokens. Binance says they support it. They don't. Actually, Binance has a problem right now. So if you have a Binance account, you can't get Near, and so you should use the Discord. And my QR code there tells you other ways to get Near. So if you're going to use something other than Ethereum, be aware that this could be a complication. Anyway, so I got my account, which was nice. You did not need MetaMask to buy or to mint. But you did have to use an email address to create your blockchain account. Boo. So I wasn't happy about that. This might be temporary, it might not be, but I wasn't happy that everybody creating a blockchain account has to give out their email address. So then I created an NFT. This was a beautiful experience creating this. As an artist, you have art, which is not just visual or video, you have a whole story. And so they have so much metadata, and it was really nice. This was the best one. So I created my account, I created a store, which cost some tokens, created a mint. So here are all the different, can you see the screen with the light? No? Can you see the screen or no? No? Can somebody kill the light? The screen light? It's all glary. Maybe? Yes, no? Somebody can. So I'll read it. It has different types of metadata that you can attach to your NFT. The first is obviously the title and the subtitle and the description. This one has tags, and they've recommended tags. So you can get into categories of other NFTs. If you're a new artist, if it's your first drop, it's nice to be in good company. So you could put yourself as, you know, DeFi, fashion, hip hop. So this was really cool. So I filled this information in. It had a place to upload your licensing PDF file. I was like, oh my God, this is so great, because nobody has this. So I made a PDF of what our license was, what our expectation was for this NFT. Uploaded it right into the minting. It also has, you can attach other documents, extra media, a time, a location. So it was really nice. So I minted it. This one's available too. And so this had a big problem though. The auction is not really an auction. Basically you're just collecting offers. So if you bid on this, I have to receive your email, remember, be awake, and then go accept it. Or it disappears within 24 hours. I wasn't really happy with that. So I was studying that. And then as I was clicking around their website, I actually read their NFT standard, which is not Ethereum. And I think I found a problem with it. So I reported that on GitHub. So this will not affect you minting or buying. But if you're creating new applications, this is something you want to know about. These are new things. They have problems. I look for problems. So my experience, great metadata and rights, just really clear setting expectations for your customers. There's no auction. That was terrible. But if you have a fixed price, great. It has a test net. So a lot of people are afraid of launching NFTs because it costs a lot of money. You don't know what you're doing. You might mess it up. They have a whole test net, so you can drop it on testnet and delete it. I thought that was really slick. The Near, I did not have a good experience with that at the moment. And there's that. Case study number 3. So this is a 4-way joint collaboration, a self-portrait video, a rap audio track, visual effects, and then production all together in a 20-second clip. Also on the QR code. So I worked with Living with Will from LA. His name's Mobob Slim. He has a different name. And then Indigo, which is an anonymous artist. How do you even deal with anonymous artists? So I rolled dice. I put this one on Foundation. Foundation also uses IPFS. Okay, so I asked everybody their expectations, what was important to them in this process, and they wanted to set a custom royalty rate because we wanted it to be evenly divisible by 4. We chopped it 4 ways, and he wanted to be clear that every artist was credited in this production. Okay, so I got in there. So I got onto Foundation, and I got in there. You connect. This one has a long waiting list, so there's 73,000 other people that want to mint before you. That was tough. I skipped those people. So I created an account, thank you. And so this one supports images and video. This was great. And 3D files, which is cool. Here are the tech specs. They only support 50 megabytes. So this is actually a huge problem. So Foundation, if you have a 51 megabyte file, you can't release it. So luckily, I had this video, right? So I had this video. I'm trying to get these things out the door. Luckily, I have compressor. I got the compressor video down below 50 megabytes. Uploaded. This website's very beautiful. Pasted in all my information, all my contributors. I could say who did what. I had, when you release something, please link to your Twitter account or whatever so people know it's authentic. Please do that. I was able to create a royalty split. I didn't, so these people trust me, so I'll just take all their money and give it to them. We minted it. It's live. This is what it looks like when it's live. It's a very nice website. So I didn't like their login process. It uses an Ethereum signature, a message, which is hackable, so I didn't like that. There's no metadata, so you only get one box to type in your stuff on Foundation. I didn't really like that compared to the other ones, which were a lot better. The website is beautiful, so that was a big plus. 50 megabyte limit, that was a big minus. And the auction, what was my problem with their auction? Oh, you cannot schedule the auction, so people can snipe you. So I actually launched this a week ago, and I never told anybody because I'm getting my slides ready like a responsible human to support my audience, you know, be awake on stage, not doing things last minute. And there's my artwork sitting on Foundation, and if anybody finds it, they could have just stole it. They could have bid, you know, without any competition. Because as soon as you put it on Foundation, people can bid. I would like to schedule my things in advance so I can get all my stuff done, launch it on stage, big pow, but I couldn't do that. So that was a negative. I hope they fix that. Case study 4. This is a Latina artist in Mexico. She does watercolor and paintings. So I worked with her. We produced a painting, and we launched it on Mintable. And so this is the Mintable shared gasless store. So you have multiple options. This was really nice that they have different, you know, choices for you. She had no requirements. She's like, I want to, you know, I've never done NFTs. I barely know. I'm interested to work together. Great. So here's my experience with Mintable. So came in, created an account. They had a terms of service. I was surprised that most websites do not have a terms of service. It might be buried on the bottom, but there's no button that you have to click that you have to agree to anything. So that was weird. They also had a terrible terms of service. So you are granting Mintable its affiliates, and I think I quoted that. No. Basically, you're just giving them all of your rights to your artwork forever and your likeness. So I didn't like signing that. Indefinitely sublicensable, permanent, worldwide, without any money, your likeness and your artwork. So this is stuff you're signing up for on this platform. On the other platforms, you might sign up for it, but if it's buried in the terms of service at the bottom and you didn't click on it when you signed up, then your lawyers will just say that you didn't read it and that's their fault. That is not legal advice. So I was able to create an account. You can connect all of your other accounts to that. That was great. A lot of these platforms allow you to, because you can mint and you can also create auctions. So a lot of them allow you to mint on one platform and then bring it to sell on another. That was cool. So I minted here. They have 2 different options, gasless or gas. So I just chose the first one every time. Got through this. It supports Markdown, so you can type in your text really pretty. This one allows me to choose the length of the auction. So, but again, no start date. For me, a start date's important. I want to launch things. When I drop, I want to drop now. Like, hey, I'm dropping now, but actually dropped 4 days ago. You just didn't know about it. So I like scheduling. You can choose whether or not people can resell. That was cool. They have this copyright button where you give the expectation that someone's going to get the copyright of the thing that you buy it. But as the buyer, there's no actual terms of this copyright. So it's kind of just a checkbox, doesn't mean anything, but good try. You sign the message, you create the art, you upload it, and it's got metadata. So here, thank you. Can we get the one in front of the screen? No. Okay, so the notes here. Royalty-free, sub-licensable, transferable, perpetual, irrevocable, worldwide license to use, reproduce, modify, publish, edit. Who wants their artwork edited and then resold and not get paid? And have your likeness attached to it. Nobody wants that. They also had, when you were done minting, it went straight into selling you advertisements to advertise on the store. That was really slick. You could pay with Ethereum to advertise on their platform. I was like, okay, that's smooth. So I paid $400 worth of whatever to advertise this, and they only spent 50 cents of it. So I wanted to blow through the $400 in 2 days, and they didn't even use my money. So, you know, good try. And there's no explanation of royalties. There's no secondary market royalties, or if there is, it didn't tell you about them. And I read every page. So maybe it's there, and they just forgot to tell you. 2.5, thank you. So, did I say it? This is after I set it up, though. That's correct. So you're correct, but when you're going through the process, they did not make that commitment to you. So after you made the commitment of minting, then they code that information to you. I'm very particular on who's committing what to whom. But you're right. And practically, it's 2.5. Actually, they did not commit that. Case study 5 of 6. This one is inspired by my daughter. This is a visual art. This is a generated art. It's a video. Color, LFO oscillator. It's really cool stuff. So I worked with VJ Delaria. She's a great artist. She is Latina artist, and she does VJ work. She does geometric shapes and colors and motion. So it's really great. And so I rolled the dice again. I got OpenSea. So OpenSea, many people have seen, and this one is using Polygon. So if you open OpenSea, it defaults to Ethereum. And then there's a list of choices, and if you click it, it says we recommend Polygon. So that was kind of weird. If you recommend it, you should select it first. In my thesis here of going with always the recommended choice, so that if there's problems, I can blame them instead of my choices, I went with Polygon. So here's my experience. My experience with the artist is she did not want any commercial usage of her art. She said if you're going to use it commercially, you should get in touch with her. That's fair. And then it should be connected to Twitter. This media was a 200 megabyte GIF file. So I'm gonna say that sentence again, and I'm gonna listen to I'm gonna take the 1990s version of me and listen to that. I took a 200 megabyte GIF file that I'm selling for $1,000. Okay. So technically that's difficult. I mean it's difficult to. It's amazing that this thing even worked. Okay. So I loaded the page. This one supported all kinds of stuff. So we've got different JPEG formats, GIFs, SVG, video, WebM, new types of, obviously OpenSea is going to support a lot of different formats, 3D, audio, video together. So that was good. Supports up to 100 megabytes. So this was a problem. So I had to use a smaller version to upload it and then attach the second one. I had to create a store. So the store had some metadata too. So you couldn't just drop one on OpenSea, you had to create a collection first. So I created a NFT collab collection. Dropped the artwork in. This one, OpenSea does have metadata, so I put the metadata in, and that was nice. And it minted. This one has no confetti. After you mint it, then it goes into the sales part. So how do you sell this? Do you want to auction or whatever? And so you go through that. You have to connect your WETH to that. WETH or WETH? What do you say? WETH. All right. Here's the buyer's view. So I also open the page as the buyer. How do you buy stuff on Polygon if you're logged into MetaMask? So I just wanted to show you what that looks like, because if you're selling and they're buying, you're responsible for them as a good salesperson, right? So it looked pretty smooth. So, and some of this is going to sound stupid. So $1 billion in liquidity in a week. That's what I saw after NFT NYC. So this is a lot of liquidity for NFT art. The page failed without an error with my file. So me, the idiot, tried to upload a 200 megabyte GIF file in a 100 megabyte upload box, and it just said okay, but then it didn't work. So no error message. So I went through that a few times. That was painful. There was a lot of steps, but they were smooth. So that's fine. Again, they have, when you log into OpenSea, this is not a secure process. I don't like the way that the actual logging in was working. I think that can be hacked. And this is stupid, but when I went through the process, everybody knows that OpenSea does auctions, right? I minted an NFT on OpenSea using all the default options, and I could not find any button that said auction. There is not one. I have screenshots of I took a video of the whole thing, and it took screenshots of the video. There's no process to make an auction if you're minting on OpenSea. What? I have the full video, A to Z. There's no button. So if you click every button, if you click advanced and you click every single button, you will not see the word auction. Now maybe if you mint it and then you close the page and then you open the page and then you go into the auction, then you can do an auction. But me telling you, dear audience, I'm not going to tell you to close a page and open a page and log out and log in. I'm just going to tell you I used every default option, full stop. And there's no auction. So if you want to do an auction, be careful, because if you follow their normal path, you won't get one. So this one is for sales fixed price. So if you look on the back of your sheet, this one is just fixed price on OpenSea. Number 6 and final auction, final NFT collaboration. This one is with Alaya. Alaya is a well-known travel artist. He does landscapes. This is a joint collaboration. He took a photo. I edited his photo in Lightroom. I developed his photo. So he also teaches people how to develop. So I was very scared that I would embarrass both of us in this process, and he approved it. So it's joint collab. We launched this one on Zora. Zora is another NFT platform, and I didn't know about it, but I'm learning, and so are you. So Alaya's requirements were that if you purchase this, you should be able to use it as your profile or in a gallery, and you should not be using this commercially. He sells photos commercially to governments when they want people to show up at their country to travel. So he doesn't want photos being used without his permission commercially, because people do it all the time, and then you have to go after these people. The file was a 200 megabyte TIFF file, so this is an uncompressed, full-featured file. I edited it in Lightroom. It's a 16-bit color. I mean, I want to drop something at full fidelity if I can. If I have the bits, drop the bits, right? So what was the experience? So we used Zora. We had different wallet options, which is nice. You create a profile, you get a name in the description, you drop your media in, it mints it. This one cost, I put all the prices on the back there. Some of them are a significant amount of money. You have to mint, you have to create an auction. Some of them you have to transfer your NFT to the auction house, and then they give it back if it doesn't sell. There's some of that going on. And this money adds up, so however many $100, I told you there. You minted it. And then again, this one, so the file was too big to show up in this box, and they didn't thumbnail it yet. So the page loads, but you can't see your artwork yet. Beautiful photo, listed for sale. So you can do an auction or buy it now. So I had to pay for the auction. This one extends every 15 minutes. A lot of them do that. So I was just taking notes. Again, you can look at these slides if you care about this stuff. This one was another problem where the page loaded slowly. So I had to look at this. Why does the page load slowly? If you're going to drop a 200 megabyte TIFF file, can people buy your 200 megabyte TIFF file? If you upload a 10 gigabyte YouTube file, people can load that on their watch. It will work because it recompresses it and scales it down. So you want to make sure that your platform supports these things. Okay, so quick notes. They allow audio, video, and text. So you can drop a text story NFT. Zora is the only one I know that allows that. So that was cool. They have a lot of different tokens that they supported, just piles of tokens that you can sell with. I thought that was really cool. And the page was slow to load. So that was a problem again. If you're releasing a smaller NFT or a GIF that's not moving, that's cool. If you have a big NFT, you want to care about this stuff. Okay, so here are the different platforms, and here's the summary of the good experiences I had and the bad ones. I gave OpenSea an extra green at the top just because they're very well known, obviously. And if you're selling on a marketplace, being well known is good. This is also on your table. It's on your slide, so you can get a better shot of that. Some things were really great. So Rarible, big ups on scheduling an auction. Timing is everything when you're dropping something. Metadata, Mintbase had a great experience. We can do better, but it was very good. Some of them had a terrible experience with rights, including OpenSea. So it was not clear what actually rights you were giving, or it wasn't specified, or you couldn't customize it. Working with all these different artists, they had expectations on how their art would be used and licensed. And so we expect the platform to support that. Cost, some of them have different costs, and so I just released that there. Some of them you have to pay gas, some of them you don't. Gas can be significant. The most one cost $500. There's different support for royalty splitting. Obviously, this is a big complaint with OpenSea. You cannot split, at least last I checked, unless they added it. Some of them have 4-way, 25-way split. They support different networks. I made a note of that too. Some people like certain networks. That's great too. So I had a great experience with these. Again, if you have more that you'd like me to check out, please share those too. There are 2 NFT products that are notable that I know are coming up. One of them is Coinbase NFT, coming soon. I have no more details than that to share. They will be released. They have released some teasers, some slots of that. I think you should look out for that one. A client of mine, so I'm involved with this one, is Light, will be releasing something related to travel art. So that is a new platform. These platforms don't exist, so I have no comment about them until they launch. So all of these slides, because there's a lot of them, and these are important to you if you're an artist. And again, these are on your table. Flip it over. All right, so this is the first half. The second half is I have very special guests to bring on to share some more specific NFT collaborations. Please welcome Arts to the stage. Rapper extraordinaire, hustler.
Thank you for having me, my bro. Appreciate you. What's up, people? How y'all doing? Can I get some noise? I just got out the airport. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm a hip-hop recording artist, yes, a rapper and an art curator for the last 15 years in music and 10 years in art. I started by putting out music and then curating my rap shows and concerts to be curated gallery events. In the space so far, I've been in NFTs for about 11 months. I'll give you a quick intro. I use the same method that I built my community and company Reject Dreams with in the NFT space. And it was to really build community, showcase artists from different marginalized groups, and work with all different types of artists. I just became the first blue chip rapper ever to sell an audio visual NFT in a blue chip auction house next to Warhol, Basquiat, and some of the greats, right? I say that to say, I've worked with over 50 artists in the space already. I've attached my music and I've curated collections using other artists' visual art. So Mr. Will here wanted to bring me on stage because I know a thing or two about minting on different platforms and which platforms to prefer and how to do it, right? So in my experience thus far, because I've done so many collaborations with so many different artists from different backgrounds, mediums.
He's got your video ready.
Oh, yeah, feel free. You could play, press play on the video, and pretty much this is like a bunch of work I've done in the last 10 to 11 months with all different types of artists from different parts of the world, again, different mediums. In my experience, what I've done is I treated the NFT space almost like somebody who tailor makes a suit for you, right? So every platform has a different vibe, it has a different aesthetic to it, and I kind of played between those aesthetics, and I said, okay, for more curated one-of-one works, I'm gonna use Known Origin, which is a more curated platform, right? It allows people to purchase these one-of-ones. For things like multiple editions, in order to save myself money, save the artist money, I used OpenSea because OpenSea is more friendlier when it comes to price. You pay one additional fee to mint, and then you can mint for free from there, and then you just pay for gas fees, right? So with every project and every collection, I made sure that I took into account, okay, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with one-of-one pieces? Are we dealing with a multitude of editions? And then I went from there. Most currently, I dropped an NFT of a animated music video of mine featuring an artist named Ari Lennox. She signed J. Cole. And for this, my first experience was on Foundation. And I said, since this is a one-of-one, what I wanted to do is I wanted to put this on Foundation and pretty much allow people to bid. This was my first time experiencing that. Like Will said, there's pluses and minuses to all these platforms, but you really have to sit there and dive into what you're looking for. I wanted an auction. I wanted to make sure the presentation was pretty. I went with Foundation. I also had a collaborator. So with some of these platforms like Foundation or Known Origin, you're capable to actually split the contract. So then when the money gets paid out, when somebody purchases this, I don't have to sit there and send Will his money. He already has his money in the wallet. If I did 70% of the work and he only did 30%, we can calculate that in the contract. So with these different collabs, I've made sure that I've sat there and said, yo, okay, what is going to fit this project the best? If I have 70 editions or something, I'm not going to do that on Known Origin. Respect to them. They're good people over there. But I'm not going to mint 70 different pieces of work and continue to pay those gas fees and collab contracts, right? I'm going to go somewhere like OpenSea. Now, if I want to do unlockable content, places like Known Origin is great for that. When I want to do collabs, places like Known Origin and Foundation is great for that too. With my most recent drop with Ari Lennox, I made sure to not only do the collab contract, but there's an unlockable there that whoever purchases this piece will get a full-on experience here at Art Basel. I have about 5 to 6 events. Friday, I'll be performing with Busta Rhymes, Noriega, a bunch of legends and greats in the music industry, and that was my incentive. So that's the one thing that I've noticed in this space as well, too, as I build more rapport and relationship with my collectors. I made sure that some collectors go to certain platforms looking for certain things, you know. As you see, the explosion of PFP projects, Bored Apes, Cool Cats, which I'm privileged to be an owner of, right, and I got in pretty early. Those are on OpenSea. When you go to platforms like Known Origin or Foundation, you don't really see those PFP projects because they operate on different systems. So, you know, there's a million ways to skin a cat. When you're doing your collabs, when you're minting your art, I feel like experience is always the best teacher. So when I first dove into the space, I probably spent, I would say, like close to $2,000 just minting on every different platform. So, and that was able to put me in a space where then when I was navigating artists into the space, from in real world to NFTs, or artists that I was working with from different countries where crypto is not allowed, like India. Thank you, good sir. Where crypto is not allowed, like India and places of that nature, right? I had to sit there and figure out, okay, which platform is going to be the best to bypass some of this stuff and make it easier for my collaborator to be able to accept this money, right? So again, experience is the best teacher. I would sit there and suggest for everybody in the room who hasn't minted an NFT, whether you're an artist or not, you can mint a tweet, you can mint a photo of your mom, daughter, son, whatever. But it's very important and crucial to actually dive in and see how these platforms work, see how gas fees work, because I've sent money into the matrix, $500, $1,000, and I don't know who it went to. It didn't go to my mom, it didn't go to your aunt, it just went to the blockchain, right? So through these experiences, you're able to actually identify, okay, these, you kind of build a formula, you know, these artworks work better here, right? These multitude of edition artworks work better on OpenSea. So then it allows me to tailor make my game, so when I'm sitting there and collaborating with these artists, I know where to bring them. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking for hip-hop music, I'm not going to bring you to the EDM club because they're not going to spin nothing hip-hop based, right? Same thing works with this space, right? I'm not going to sit there and put an artist in a platform that might handicap them. You know, if they're artists that relies on a lot of collaboration, like myself, I'm not going to put them on OpenSea, right? I've had the pleasure of being on OpenSea with collabs, but that's because a lot of people trust me and vibe with me because I'm a community leader, a builder. So, you know, I like to do good business. But if it's somebody that I don't know from a hole in the wall, I've never met them on Clubhouse, Twitter, I would probably bring them to Known Origin or Foundation, because then I could split the contract and we could build the rapport there to sit there and say, okay, Arts does good business. Now we've sold a couple pieces together. Now I could trust him to float on different platforms, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's pretty much been my experience. I think also a thing that you should realize too as a creative in this space, there's different collectors on different platforms. And some of these collectors also have preferences when it comes to the wallets, what they like, what platform they choose from, what formula they use to purchase their art. You know, so I think it's a good, it's important to keep an eye out on that, because different things are going to work for different people. When I first started off, OpenSea was clicking for me. Then I went trending on Known Origin. I made the front page. I started minting more there, right? But I have no loyalty to any of these platforms because it's what fits the project and the campaign best. You know, there was artists that jumped on Hickanunk and they used Tezos blockchain. That was something I couldn't do because I was based in New York and I can't purchase Tezos unless somebody sends it to me, right? So using what best fits your needs and trying a little bit of everything out until you use the process of elimination to be like, okay, this one works for me. This one, not so much. This one's too expensive. I'm definitely not spending $500 when gas is going crazy to mint one artwork. So I'll take the project to OpenSea. All I got to do is pay one gas fee. I don't got to pay to mint the collab contract, so on and so forth. So those are my best practices in the space. In these last 11 months, I've done pretty well, not only for myself, but for the group of collaborators that I've worked with. I've changed my life. I changed some of their lives. And there's a beauty and a power to NFTs. There's a newfound freedom of expression. My company, which is a music, video, event production company, is now a tech company. I'm able to say I brought in over 6 figures in the last 11 months between myself and the artists I'm working with, right? And that's beautiful because some of these artists are in third world countries. Some of these artists come from marginalized groups and backgrounds where they didn't have access to this money. I put a down payment on my mom's house this year just because of NFTs. So I say that to say, salute, appreciate you. I say that to say, keep working, keep creating, keep believing. Don't feel bad if the first couple weeks, first couple months don't sell something, because once you get that one believer, somebody to hear your story, somebody to resonate with your art, it'll keep the battery in your back to continue to go. It'll keep you motivated. And all you need is that one collector. It's like what I've been hearing in music for 15 years, right? The 1,000 fan article. And I believed in that because I really did that. I sold out shows in LA, Montreal, and nobody knew who I was. I was on major radio, right? But it's because I built organically, grassroots with people by having conversations like this, keeping it real, being authentic, and true to who I am. And now I'm having this new resurgence in this space, and it feels like my whole life is coming together, right? Everything is panning out. I'm getting written up by Chicago Tribune, Yahoo Finance, so on and so forth. So I say, use my story as motivation, live vicariously through myself, my story, the Reject Dreams way, and through the art that you see on this beautiful video, and through the people that you meet in the space. My name's Arts. Peace and love. I'm out. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Arts is Artsy, A-R-T-Z. You can find me on all major platforms, all capitals, all right? Love, y'all. Peace.
Don't disappear. We got to take questions.
Oh, yeah, we got to take questions.
My fault.
My fault.
Yeah, this is a question time. So, hit us. And can we get a microphone runner? Scarlett.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Lexi. I'm right here.
Where you at, Lexi? Yeah, there you go. What's up?
I just wanted to ask, how difficult was it to transition into that process of formulating the technique that you basically just told us about?
Say that last part again.
Like, how difficult was it for you to transition into the template that you just gave us, how you're into the NFT space?
For me, I don't want to sound crazy when I say this, but it really wasn't difficult because I'm the type of person that runs over the hill and gets hit with the arrows first. And then if I make mistakes, I'm like, yo, it's good. We good. Come. I dive in. I heard a quote one time that it says, when you're in fear, just dive in, right? It's like your uncle throwing you in the pool to learn how to swim, and you're like drowning, but listen, you're going to learn or you're going to die, right? So that process for me wasn't really difficult too much because what I did is I chose fearlessness. I was speaking in Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, and I was sharing my story, and people were resonating with that. So I was doing NFTs in the physical form for the last 10 years. I was partnering my music with actual physical art, comic books, paintings, clocks, sculptures from people in my Reject Dreams community and collective, right? So I used that same method. And I said, I had merch already where I had comic books that we were selling digitally on my website. So I said, you know what? Before I sit there and create all this new art, let me just use a couple of these comic books and see if people like them. I put them up. I put about 20 of them up, and they sold in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it was crazy. But the minute I got my first sale I was on Clubhouse. We were playing the music that coincided with the comic book. And people started purchasing it, and I'm like, wow, God is real. It didn't seem real to me, especially because I'm in an industry, right, where I could spend $20,000 on an album, and iTunes will make you price that at $10. Spotify will break you off less than a penny for each stream, right? in this space, you get to determine your own value, and people actually resonate with that. And people sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to rock with her because I like her story. I like her art. I don't care if it's $1,000 and maybe if it's 50,000. If that person really resonates with it, they'll believe in you, because I feel like this space is like arts is now a stock. I'm a share. So imagine you being able to invest in Drake or J. Cole when nobody knew him, or Apple when it was only $5. You know, so I would say just believe, you know. No problem.
This way. Scarlett?
Where's the...
It's right there.
Big shouts to Scarlett, real MVP.
Hey, nice to meet you. My name's Czar. This is pretty loud. Okay. My question is, what's the best file format to post and also to release a collection? Like
Which type of media?
If you want to post like a picture, like what's the best file format?
Yeah,
and then if
so-
you want to do collection, what would you recommend? Either
And so
of you
this
guys.
is this is a picture like a photograph.
Artwork
Created in Illustrator or created in Photoshop?
in Illustrator.
Okay, so that might be a vector. So this is a shame. None of these platforms support vector art, SVG. So I would even launch a PDF and an SVG, but you can't. So what you have to do is you have to launch it as a JPEG, which sucks, right? So you can do that 600 DPI, you can do that big files, but one, you're gonna hit file limits. So you gotta look at the platforms I told you, because you can easily make, if it's a detailed illustration, you can get into high megabytes. If it's 600 DPI, you're doing poster size like 24 by 36 times 24 by 36 inches and 600 DPI, it gets up there if you get a lot of detail. If you don't have detail, you can have high res file and it's small because there's a lot of gradients and those don't use a lot of bytes in your file. So I recommend using JPEG, and this is going to sound stupid, and I'm embarrassing myself and everybody by saying it, but what you should do is you should make a Dropbox, and you should put your Illustrator file there, and you should put the Dropbox links inside of your NFT. And yes, that could go down, and yes, you should put an IPFS. I mean, that's cool too, but you got to get outside of these platforms because they're not ready for you yet.
Yeah, I think that's a good, very good suggestion too, because what it allows you to sell the NFT, but also have the maintain your quality control. And for a collector, an unlockable experience is an incentive and a reward. So whether it be, I've done like short films to where we show 30 seconds, but then you get a Mediafire or a Dropbox folder in the unlockable, and then people can get the 5-minute file because that's not going to be able to be uploaded. And to answer the second half of your question, collections is really a preference thing. I'm very meticulous when it comes to presentation, like how certain things look. So for me, when I first started doing my like curated collections with all one-of-one editions, I went to known origin. When I went to, when I had multiple editions for each art in a collection, like let's say I have certain collections that have like 12 pieces, I will go to OpenSea because they have a really cool way where you can separate your collections and kind of, you know, they can land on your page and see all the collections, but then you also have a URL to get directly to that collection.
So just think, Arts is telling you about dropping a record for $1,000, $10,000, $50,000, right? That's a fan. And not everybody's buying NFTs for $50,000 or records. So you got to think, who's buying a $1,000 illustration file? That's somebody who cares about 600 DPI and who prints on a color-corrected printer.
Very true. Very
So
true.
we want to. We're skimming off the cream of the crop here. So we gotta connect with those people, and we gotta really deliver high quality. That's why Beats comes on with Apple, right? What do? Lossless. They came out with that 256-bit K-bit MP3 files, which was like ahead of this curve. Now they had lossless. Everybody wants lossless, this and that. So these are premier. This is premium stuff. And so I want you to make your best impression with your artwork.
Thanks.
Right next to you.
Hi. My name is David Lawrence. It's DLore on Twitter. Yeah, so I have 3 different NFT collections right now. The first one was called Punk Portraits. And then just on the side, I launched another one that's called Ode to Kanye, which is all like Kanye West inspired art. And then the other one that I had my question about was called Creators. And that's in regards to the splits that you were talking about. So my Creators collection. It's super new, but basically I have a studio in Orlando where I live, and I'm bringing different creatives into my studio, and I'm taking portraits of them, and then just getting info about their story, and then I'm launching their portraits as an NFT, and my goal is to give them like 40% of each sale, which like helps me, but also helps them because they're getting income, and then beyond that, it's also just like putting their art and their face literally out into the world. So like it's brand new. I haven't sold any of that yet. I put it on OpenSea. I just have like 2 artists up on it so far. But the thing that I'm wondering about is what is your advice for splitting that? Because in my head, I was just like, oh, I'll like wallet them 40% or like send them like 40% to their wallet. But like if I get 100 artists deep, that's going to be a lot. And I haven't thought about that till now.
Yeah. I have like probably over 40 pieces on OpenSea where I have to manage that myself.
So what's up?
And it's crazy. It's really crazy. So because you have 2 different. The first part, when the piece sells, you're good, right? Because you know, okay, I'm giving this person exactly 40%. But when that payout happens for the royalties at the end of the month, and you're getting 10%. So if you sell something at 0.7, but then you have a payout of 0.07. Now you have to sit down and break that calculation down as far as the math. And then you have to pay for the gas too. So in my experience, what I've done is I've had to manage those things, and myself and the artist has worked out like once each piece sells, I'll send you it and I'll just minus the gas, I'll screenshot it. But if you're dealing with hundreds of artists, and when these things are on the blockchain forever and things are getting resold, that's a recipe for disaster in a lot of ways, right? So I've leaned more towards, especially when it's one-of-one pieces, towards places like Known Origin or places like Foundation, right? Because that deals with it. They deal with that on their end. I don't have to manage any money. I don't have to send any money out. If it's 50-50, the minute that piece sells, 50 goes to you, 50 goes to me,
So Art,
so on and
you're
so
saying he's doing portraits with different people. You're saying one-of-one for each portrait with different royalty breakout.
Yeah, and it don't got to be a one-on-one, but I would say platforms that have those collab splits will be much more friendlier to you if you don't want to deal with the management of those assets and have to have that extra headache or stress. You know, I would also say that with these platforms that you do splits with, like Known Origin, and I have a talk with the CEO like every other week, right? Originally, they had it to where it was just you could split the contract with somebody, you mint, and pay one fee. Now they have to deploy a collab contract. You pay that fee, and then you pay the mint fee separately. So sometimes when gas gets crazy, you might have to come a little bit out of pocket more on the front end, but you'll save yourself the headache on the back end. You know what I'm saying? But you'll be surprised because a lot of these platforms, when you do have conversations with them and they understand the troubles of like independent artists trying to mint their work, they're Known Origin has been very supportive to artists in the community that might need to offset those original gas fees or minting fees. So I would say save yourself the headache. But be very transparent from the get-go with the artist. Like, hey, listen, this platform is going to charge us 2 fees. If you believe in the project, let's split these fees. And then if we sell, we split it down the middle.
Stage manager came. He gave me one of these. I think we have 55 minutes left. So last question. This lady right here.
Thank you. Hi, Arts.
Hi.
Really enjoyed your talk. I used to work in virtual events, and one thing that we've always talked about are hybrid events. How do you marry the digital world with the physical world and have events side by side? And it sounds like you've always been thinking about things this way and been really innovative about it. I'm curious, do you have any more ideas? You started talking about how you're doing concerts for your communities around the world. Do you think about expanding on this?
Yeah, for sure. For NFT NYC, I just did an event a couple weeks ago. I brought out over 2,000 people 3 floors, and I was competing against Bored Ape and all these big brands, right? But I did it by just building community and building rapport with people and just, trying to elevate people as I elevated. My whole ethos and goal with Reject Dreams is to be like a new age Marvel. So when I partnered my music with these visual art assets throughout these last 15 years, 10 years in the art space, right? I wanted to make sure as people was introduced to my music, they also meet the other superheroes within my vicinity, right? So I used that same method and I translated that into real life events. When I'm telling you everybody I've ever wanted to meet was at my event a couple weeks ago, Christie's, Disney, Rock Nation, right? Record labels that met me 2 years ago that were telling me what I was doing was worth billions of dollars but not cutting me any checks. Now these people are calling me all the time because I created my proof of concept by staying grounded, sticking to the plan, building community, and when you build that community and it's authentic, people show up. There was a line 2 blocks down in Times Square, the building, Quad Building, which is a historic music building. The owner called me and said, "We've never seen anything like this." Respect to all the artists, Busta Rhymes, all these people that have done events there, and this guy from Brooklyn, East New York, Puerto Rican kid, just blew it out the water as I was competing with Bored Apes, right? So I say that to say, like, you're always going to face, like, these bigger brands and these corporate machines, but when you build with people from an authentic place and you really, like, do grassroots building where you're there for people, you're helping elevate people, you're not only just being a crab in a bucket trying to get on your platform, but you're sharing the stage with people like Will, this, that, and the third, you build rapport, and that goes a long way that sometimes dollar signs or cosigns can't emulate.
Also, I want to tell you, Epic, they have the metaverse tent across. That's exactly what they're doing, is games and music in the metaverse.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's my client.
Real quick, I'll say this too. Like, my big thing is like, I'm from New York, so melting pot, everything, right? Diversity, culture, bridging the gap between music, art, tech, VR, AR. I wrote this tweet the other day. In my party, there was a photo that released, and I said, I've never seen this many bald spots and dreadlocks in the same room, right? And it was beautiful because my demographic was from 18 to 58, and people from my hood, black, brown, Latino, Asian, Indian, white, all like a diaspora, a whole palette of beautiful people. So breaking down those walls of separation, division, and making everybody get in the room with each other like we doing now, even if it make them feel uncomfortable at first, you kick it out of them, Thank you. Appreciate y'all.